Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join me as we explore Southwest's lost historical characters, stunning desert vistas, forgotten Native American history, or tales of lost gold mines. There's always something new to discover. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to Southwest Desert, where we dive deep into America's most fascinating historical stories and legends. I'm your host, Alan, and today we're traveling back to Christmas of 1927 to a small Texas town called Cisco, where one of the most bizarre bank robberies in American history was about to unfold. This is the story of the Santa Claus Bank Robbery. The late 1920s were wild times in Texas. Picture this: 3 to 4 bank heists happening every single day across the state. The Texas Bankers Association was so desperate they were offering $5,000 rewards for dead bank robbers, not captured, dead. And in the governor's mansion, Ma Ferguson was making headlines by pardoning criminals at an astonishing rate of about 100 felons per month. It's in this chaos that our story begins, with a man named Marshall Ratliff. He wasn't new to the game. He'd already done time for the Valera Bank robbery. But Ratliff had a plan that he thought would make him infamous. Originally, his brother was supposed to be part of the crew, but fate had other plans when his brother got arrested before they could pull off the heist. Ratliff didn't let this setback stop him. He assembled a new crew in a shabby boarding house in Wichita Falls. His team included Robert Hill and Henry Helms, both ex-cons who'd been pardoned by Ma Ferguson herself. The fourth member was Lewis Davis, related to Helms and brought in as a last-minute replacement when their original safecracker fell ill. But what made this robbery different from all the others plaguing Texas that year? Well, Ratliff had what he thought was a stroke of genius. He borrowed a Santa Claus suit from a woman named Mrs. Midge Teller. After all, who would suspect Santa of robbing a bank? Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest adventure. If you would like to help support my channel and time, hit the super thanks heart icon on the bottom of the video and contribute. Relax and enjoy. The gang's preparation was minimal at best. They stole a car for the job, but in their hurry, they made their first crucial mistake. They forgot to fill up the gas tank. It was a detail that would come back to haunt them in ways they couldn't imagine. On December 23, 1927, witnesses saw an unusual sight. Santa Claus walking down the streets of Cisco, followed by a trail of excited children. When a woman asked which store he represented, Santa gave a cryptic response and kept walking. His destination wasn't a department store. It was the First National Bank. Inside the bank that morning, life was proceeding as usual. Alex Spears, the cashier, was at his station. Marion Olson, a Harvard student enjoying his Christmas break at home, was conducting some business. Jewel Poe was handling deposits at her teller window, while Oscar Clyott, a local grocer, waited to make his daily deposit. In the bookkeeping department, Vance Littleton and Frida Strobel were going about their routine. Even 2 young girls, Emma Mae Robertson, just 12 years old, and 10-year-old Laverne Comer, were there with their families. Then everything changed. Santa pulled out a gun. His accomplices burst in, Helms brandishing .244 caliber revolvers, Hill carrying a pair of semi-automatic pistols. In a twist of irony, Ratliff even managed to find the bank's hidden pistol and added it to their arsenal. The robbers lined everyone up against the wall. In an oddly civilized moment during the chaos, they allowed Oscar Clyott to spit his tobacco on the floor. They forced Jewel Poe to unlock one of the safes, but their carefully laid plans were about to unravel. Mrs. Blassingame entered the bank with her 6-year-old daughter Frances. Taking in the scene before her, she acted with remarkable presence of mind. She rushed to the bookkeeping department, evacuated her daughter through an alley door, and ran straight to City Hall to alert the authorities. The response was swift and decisive. Chief G.E. Bitt Bedford, a 35-year veteran of the force, led the charge along with officers R.T. Reedes and George Carmichael. They were joined by an unlikely pair of lawmen, Postmaster J.W. Triplett and his assistant W.P. Coldwell. The officers split their forces to cover both the front and back of the bank. Armed citizens began emerging from nearby stores and offices, transforming the quiet Texas town into a battlefield. What followed was one of the bloodiest bank shootouts in Texas history. Chief Bedford was hit 5 times and would succumb to his wounds at 7:45 that evening. Officer Carmichael was mortally wounded and would fight for his life for 3 weeks before passing away. The civilian toll was equally devastating. Alex Spears took a bullet to the jaw, Marion Olson was hit in the thigh, Brady Boggs suffered a broken leg, R.L. Day got a scalp wound, Pete Rutherford was shot in the thigh, and Oscar Client was wounded in the foot. The citizens of Cisco fought back with everything they had. R.L. Day made a brave but unsuccessful attempt with a shotgun. A.A. Hutton took shots at the getaway car's tires, while C.A. Nosek managed to grab Chief Bedford's fallen pistol and join the fight. The robbers tried to escape, but their problems were mounting. Their getaway car had a bullet-damaged tire and was running on fumes. Remember that unfilled gas tank? They resorted to using hostages as human shields. In their desperation, they tried to steal an Oldsmobile from the Harris family, but 14-year-old Woody Harris proved cleverer than the bandits. He hid the car keys. In their panic, they left behind $12,000 in cash and $150,000 in securities. What followed was one of the largest manhunts Texas had ever seen. Up to 1,000 men joined the search, including legendary lawmen like Ranger Captain Tom Hickman and the famous Sergeant Lone Wolf Gonzalez. They brought in bloodhounds from Coryell County. Multiple posses combed the countryside. Mounted searchers covered vast distances, and they even employed aerial surveillance, cutting-edge technology for 1927. The gang's Christmas Eve was anything but festive. In their desperation, they actually returned to Cisco, risking recognition to visit Davis's family at Fox Farm. They went on a car-stealing spree and even held a man named Wiley's son hostage. But their group was about to get smaller. Lewis Davis, critically wounded in the shootout, was abandoned by his companions and later died in the Tarrant County Jail. The captures, when they came, were dramatic. Marshall Ratliff was caught after a fierce shootout in South Bend. When they found him, he was carrying an arsenal that would have impressed any army: 6 automatic pistols, a double-barreled shotgun, 3 ammunition belts, and a Bowie knife. Helms and Hill were arrested in Graham, each carrying 7 bullet wounds and multiple weapons. Helms was delirious with fever when they found him. The aftermath of the robbery played out like a Greek tragedy. Robert Hill pleaded guilty to armed robbery and was eventually paroled in the mid-1940s. He changed his name and, by all accounts, reformed his life. Henry Helms wasn't so fortunate. Convicted of murdering the officers, his insanity plea failed, and he was executed in September 1929. But it was Marshall Ratliff's fate that would provide the most shocking conclusion to this bloody tale. He received a 99-year sentence for the robbery and a death sentence for the officers' murders. In custody, he began faking insanity and paralysis, a ruse that would lead to his final act of violence. He managed to escape from jail and shot another officer, Officer Jones. That was the last straw for the people of Cisco. On a dark night that would long haunt the town's memory, a mob of 1,000 people stormed the jail. They dragged Ratliff out and lynched him. In a final macabre touch that seemed to emphasize the shocking nature of the whole affair, his body was displayed in a furniture store. When a grand jury investigation followed, it proved inconclusive. In a town of thousands, not a single witness could be found who would testify about what they'd seen that night. The Santa Claus Bank robbery marked the end of an era in Texas crime. It showed both the worst and the best of human nature, the brutal desperation of criminals in hard times, the bravery of law enforcement and ordinary citizens, the quick thinking of mothers and children who helped foil the robbers' plans. The robbery also illustrated the changing nature of crime and justice in America. The use of automobiles and automatic weapons by the criminals, the deployment of aerial surveillance by law enforcement, and the clash between modern police work and frontier justice all paint a picture of a society in transition. Today, nearly a century later, the First National Bank building still stands in Cisco, Texas, a quiet monument to one of the wildest Christmas stories in American history. The Santa Claus Bank robbery remains a testament to a time when desperados could still dress as Santa Claus and walk into a bank with guns blazing, and when frontier justice still held sway in parts of America. But perhaps most importantly, it serves as a reminder of the brave men and women who stood up to protect their community that day. From Chief Bedford and Officer Carmichael, who gave their lives in the line of duty, to young Woody Harris, who had the presence of mind to hide those car keys, to Mrs. Blassingame, who risked her life to raise the alarm, their courage and quick thinking in the face of danger helped bring an end to one of the most notorious gangs in Texas history. This has been Southwest Desert. Join us next time for another fascinating tale from America's Southwest past. Check out my large catalog of Southwest stories, playlists, and videos. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.